think like a lot of testosterone can be like a little intimidating sometimes, especially when they're such like brother bros, but you know, they're emotionally intelligent. They let me talk about feelings. I've cried in front of them. Many times. No, but
every day.
Every rehearsal. Well, in rehearsal points, you're all wrong. Could you imagine?
Hi, I'm Jon ALi, and today we're on track with Luka from Perta. Hi.
Hello.
How are you, babe?
Really good.
Really good. How's life? How's summer treating you?
Summer so far has been really good. I'm a little bit spoiled right now because life is going probably the best it ever has been.
Yes.
Yeah. Feeling
You've been doing lots of shows.
Yeah. Yes.
You just wrapped up a residency?
Yeah, in at the Sayers Club in Hollywood, and then we are doing San Diego Pride.
That's right.
This is my first Pride, which I'm really excited about. But I have not found an outfit yet, so.
That's one thing that I do love about you is that your outfits are always on point.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think I look good, and then the photos come back later. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, you're always gonna think differently.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I have a fantastic costume designer, Athena Lawton is her name, and she's really, really good about figuring out what I like and not looking too campy, but definitely going for some camp.
Do you collaborate with her mostly, or is she just like, here's something, I love this, wear this?
Yeah, I send her a lot of images of things that I like, new like fashion trends and stuff like that, and old ones, and we try to take old concepts and make them modern. Okay. Yeah, but she's definitely the mastermind behind it. We squeeze me into all those cute little outfits, and I feel pretty.
Hey. I've seen it firsthand, and it is translating well. But I want to get back to maybe the origin story of this beautiful creature.
Origin story, as in like where I grew up.
Well, you grew up in Pennsylvania, I know that.
Yeah. Grew up right outside of New York City, about an hour, and I was in the Lehigh Valley, collection of small towns. It was a really interesting place to grow up for somebody as flamboyant as myself, but it certainly was nice, and I like going home because it especially when we did that East Coast show where you and I met. My high school friends who I haven't seen in a really long time were able to make it out there. Started doing like dancing, and then that turned into theater, and then I moved out here to do theater at college. I should preface, it's like because LA's not really. I mean, they have somewhat of a theater scene, but it's not. Point being, then I fell into music, and it was an accident. I kind of always had one foot in the door with that, but I never thought that it was something I could wrap my mind around. Yeah. And I met our now keyboardist, but at the time, sort of micromanager, Colin Kendrick, and he was like, "It sounds like you want to work with live musicians," and that's what we do now. Yeah. It's been about 3 years. Ride of my life. Like,
I was gonna say, like, that's kind of like the shortened version.
Yeah,
of
like
ride.
To like keep, that. It just, and that's kind of what it felt like. Everything has gone fairly quickly, specifically in the past 3 years. I really never saw my life kind of taking this turn. I was just writing little songs, like literally in my living room, like writing like rinky-dink little things. And one of them we still play live, a couple of them, but they've certainly like shape-shifted over the years because we have genius songwriters with us, Daniel Zuker, Colin Kendrick, our keyboardist, Justin Siegal, and Chance Taylor. They're incredible artists and very good at crafting my ideas to make them sound better and more full and flamboyant.
So writing wasn't necessarily something that always came natural to you. It was kind of something you learned to develop over time.
Not necessarily. I have my own style of writing. Yeah. So I can write the song, and they fill it with, for a good example, our one hit that's out right now, From Fire. Yes. It was a ballad. It was like a Jeff Buckley ballad, very slow, very lots of drama. And I brought it to the boys, and we kept playing it. We played it like a rock ballad for a couple of shows, and it just wasn't feeling right. We all agreed. And then Justin was the one to suggest, he was like, let's funk this up. And we did, and it, we didn't turn around, we were like, oh, this is the hit. This is going to be our first single. Let's debut ourselves with this. And I feel like got the most we could out of one single. We are going to release music with this year, so that's coming.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
But you said like growing up in Pennsylvania wasn't necessarily like something you liked, but I mean, what did your parents do?
Yeah, my mom works for a computer software company that sort of trains and sells software that works for car dealerships. Very specific.
Okay.
Very specific. And my dad is in the military.
Okay.
So he was deployed quite often, but Pennsylvania was really beautiful. I don't like to be like, it was such a terrible place, especially because I miss it so often. I mean, home is always going to be home. I think it was just very confining.
Yeah, maybe not the best place for you to like explore and bloom.
Yeah, I mean, I went back from college after 1 year, and I remember that whole summer I was like wearing lipstick. I was like going through something, just trying to figure out who I am, and I went like 100% in one direction and then pulled back. So I was just like, okay, what's really me? But I think that was kind of, in hindsight, me rebelling and kind of, because I just felt so constricted for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I was a kid, I mean, my mom just sent me pictures the other day of like me walking around like the house in like these beautiful ball gowns. I always had them on. It's because my dad left the Halloween costumes out all year long. He wanted me to play. My dad was like, when he was a kid, he was very like showy.
Yeah, yeah.
The first time I saw theater was my dad doing a piece, and he kissed another woman in the show, and I was just like,
what's going on? Yeah.
We come with this? And yeah, I don't know. So it was always like magic, and then when I got to high school, it got very like constricting and.
But more so coming from outside voices, not necessarily home.
Yeah, and that's funny. Also, my school was very expressive and loud, but it was just like the internet. Everything was telling me what a boy was and what I should be, and a little bit from home, which is I mean, everybody's a product of nature and nurture, so no blame or anything. It just kind of is what it was.
Yes.
So.
And when you went to school in. Was it SoCal or
I don't know. I'm geographically like not good at geography.
Yeah.
So I think SoCal. It's CalArts.
Yeah, CalArts.
Valencia.
Yeah, I think that's what I was.
Yeah.
But then I forgot.
It happens to me often. Yeah, no, I went there, and when oh my gosh, they literally were like, be a freak.
Yeah.
You know, find your freak and like and figure out who you are as an artist, because that's how you're gonna stand out. Because there's so many fucking actors. There's so many dancers, there's so many everybody, and it's really like figure out who you are. And the best way that I found to do that was to cultivate my childhood.
Okay.
I just, all of those times when I was in the ball gowns and everything. So, a lot of the shows have me in these very beautiful, flamboyant, showy outfits, and I think even when we headlined the Troubadour, I wore something that was reminiscent of a long wedding dress train, because I have a thing about runaway brides. Because I only found love this year, so. But yeah, no, I was like, I'm just gonna figure out what makes me feel really, really pretty.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do that.
No, yeah, you feel it too when you're up there, because I feel like you're very like expressive and theatrical, but like in the most engaging of ways, and it feels really natural to you. It feels like you're truly living your best life up there.
It does feel very. It's just fun. It's just like a really good time. So I'm glad that that's coming across.
Oh, totally, 100%. I was like completely like. I mean, I had known about you for a little bit, and I was so happy that you were coming to New York.
Yeah.
I was like, we have to go to the show, and then seeing you up there, I was like, I felt like everything that I had like just perceived or just like put on you was like just taken to the next level, seeing it all in person. It was amazing.
Thanks.
No problem. But the music, you were saying you have the one song out right now that's available for everyone.
Yeah.
But you guys do like full on like 30-minute, 45-minute shows.
We have I would say like songs I would feel confident putting on an album. We probably have 1.5 albums worth of like material that I'm like, oh, the world, I want them to hear this.
Yeah.
And it's so, and it comes from different avenues. Like Danny has brought in a bass line several times, and we'll write something off of that, and I'll just sing like a vowel sounds, and we'll find something, and then I go home and I'm like, what does this mean to me in my life right now? How can I apply it into what aspect? And we just write from there. So or I'll bring half of a song with my shitty piano skills. I'm getting better. And they'll like just completely dissect it and bring it to life in a way that I couldn't even imagine. So it really is a team effort in that regard. But we have so much material and some really great opportunities that happened just this year. which they'll, they'll find out about. And
little by little.
It's been a good year for Perta. Thank God.
No, yeah, I mean, it's you guys have put yourself out there, and it's obviously the goal is hopefully to like get someone to help in the process.
Yeah, there's just certain things that, especially when you're a full band, that there's certain things that you need. And financially, it's so much more expensive when you have a full band recording material. It's not just a music engineer and me and maybe another songwriter in the room. It's we have our core songwriters. We don't have a problem writing material. It's expensive. It's expensive, and now we have a really great opportunity.
That's great.
So,
yes.
new music is coming out. Thank God.
Everyone, the music is coming.
It's on its way, said every musician ever. 5 years from now, it's coming.
Where is the album? We need the album.
Girl, you and me both.
Take your time.
But first Pride, and that I'm very excited for. I just love it. I always love going. My first Pride was 3 years ago. Weirdly enough, it's never like I've been not allowed to go.
I just haven't experienced it.
Yeah, it just happened that I showed up there, and I also was working at the LGBT Center at the time, so I went with quite a few of my queer colleagues, and it felt very much like a homecoming. Not that my relationship with my family is necessarily as strained as most.
Yeah.
But it just felt like any of that constriction that I felt from the world or from high school or from anything, any intimate relationship that I had, it just felt like finally I just met a family. It's so taboo, but it felt like a family. You walk in and people were like, yes, bitch, and what I was wearing, and I was just like, thank you, what, bitch, yes,
No, people were just genuinely happy, and they are wanting to celebrate each other.
Yeah, and what an incredible thing that's what you're celebrating. It's just the people around you and yourself.
Yeah.
That's the parade.
Yeah.
And that was just wild to me in my head. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And now we're playing one, literally just 3 years later.
Yeah. And there's 5 of you all together?
Yes, yeah. And then we have a horn section.
Okay.
And they'll be there as well. And that's 3 other guys.
Now, everyone that's in the band, did you guys all meet in a natural way, or would someone reach out to this person and then how did everyone get involved?
Our little mastermind behind all of this is Colin Kendrick. So like I said before, he was the micromanager, and he was just pulling little strings here and there, and now we're getting to a point where he even is I don't know what to do, this is out of my pay grade, so we're seeking that other entity. But he was the one who was friends with Justin and Danny, and he pulled, basically after he heard my songs, he took me to dinner and was like, what do you want? What do you want from music? And I was just like, what do I know? I was just but I do miss having the camaraderie that theater has. And he pulled together, he just sent my little rinky-dinky recordings around and threw a little party. And a bunch of musicians, showed up.
Wow.
That all wanted to be a part of it. And some have, fallen off just based on
Wow.
whether they were passionate about the project or not. But Danny and Justin were the original ones.
Wow.
And then we found Chance, and Chance is an incredible arranger. So he pulls, it was like he was our missing puzzle piece. He really
pulls
the strings and ties everything up.
And you guys get along well and everything?
Yeah. Well, I never really had guy friends growing up. I had one, and I'm actually going to his wedding in a week. But yeah, no, I've only had ever one guy friend, and so I think a lot of testosterone can be a little intimidating sometimes, especially when they're such broy bros, but they're emotionally intelligent. They let me talk about feelings. I've cried in front of them. Many times. No, but
every day.
Every rehearsal points are all wrong. Could you imagine? No, but they.
I'm imagining you just sitting there throwing a
Norma Desmond, just
throwing phones at them.
I walk in, I'm in a dark corner. Hello, boys. Welcome to rehearsal. Call me mother. No, it does often feel like we joke about how it's I'm their little sister, and they're just my big brothers, because when push comes to shove, there was a couple of times when we're after shows and people are very drunk people are suffocating me, and they can tell that I'm tired, and they just come up and they're all right, hey, how's it going? And like take them the other way. And it's just really nice. It's nice to have that because, as we said before, I'm afraid of confrontation.
So they're like your big bros / bodyguards.
A little bit of everything, really, and songwriters and.
That's amazing.
Friends,
You know, that's nice because I'm always curious about like that dynamic, because, especially in a live band where like you guys kind of have to be connected on the stage in every way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Especially this past residency, we really clicked into something really wonderful. There was a couple of times where. You know, I had to back off. That first show, I was a little under the weather, and I had to back off the mic for some of the songs, and I was just really going inward, and Danny sensed it, and Colin did too, that I was getting kind of like self-conscious and not going down a rabbit hole, and to pull me back. Danny has this saying before we go on stage, which I really love, which is look to your left, and it was because one of our first shows, he like gave me this whole little speech. He was just like, if you're nervous or you feel like you're messing up or anything, look to your left. He was like, I know the words, I know everything, and I will be there for you, and I will pick you up. And it's just like this, he is a safety net for me, and all the boys have become that. I think during the residency, that's what it was. It's like, there was the last show where we just like, I was bowing, and I did the same where I like just lifted my hand and cut it off, and right when I did that, it's like they just knew to like cut the music and everything just...
Wow.
It's wild. It's very fun. It's very fun. So, I mean, you can only get that from spending so much time
together. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but that's what you want. That's what you want. And if you're gonna continue to move forward and all these amazing things that have come your way, it's best to do that at a place where you guys feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, that's the one thing that because our agents keep saying to us, like especially when new people are coming into. Our little like family, new voices. They're like, the one question that keeps coming up is like, do you want to sit in a room with those people? Is that wild? I don't know. I never thought about that. I was just like, who can make us money? Who can get us this? How can we work with this person? But at the end of the day, you know, it really is coming down to you're going to spend a lot of your time, whether it's management, agency. You know, your publicist, you trust them with your life and how it is perceived by the public. Do you want to sit in a room with them? And that question is really something I'm weighing a lot right now as we're making really big decisions.
Yeah.
So.
That's intense.
Yeah, it's great though. Good problems to have. Yeah, it is. It's something.
Now, do you feel, because you kind of are in the center of this all, and a lot of it kind of like, people look to you.
Maybe.
They kind of look to you as like, you know, you're in the center of all of this.
Yeah.
Do you maybe, like, do you think you're ready for that pressure? Or do you celebrate it? Or you're like, yeah, I'm ready to be at the fucking forefront of all this.
You know? No. I mean, honestly, I've had a lot of practice. I'm the baby of 5, so.
You're like, yes.
You're like, yes, give it to me. Give me the crown. No. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've been dreaming about it my whole life in one way or another. That being said, it does not come. It does come with hesitations in my, you know, I think as I've gotten older, strangely enough, I've become a little bit more introverted, just slightly. Not when I'm on stage, because that's my like freedom place.
Yeah.
But I think in my personal life, and as I'm writing these stories and these songs, they are my personal life, and some of them get to they're not just about love. They're about like my views on things in the world and you know, past traumas and whatnot, and
I think that's perfectly normal though. I feel like there's a lot of people, like musicians and artists, who are putting themselves out there a lot.
Yeah.
Feel the need that they have to kind of keep a part of their life to themselves, for themselves, to just maintain a healthy balance for like self-care.
I guess I don't have a comprehension of what that balance is yet.
Yeah, so you're figuring it out.
Yeah. I'm definitely like I'm walking forward with confidence, but like an educated hesitation, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you know, a sense of like making sure I, you know, remember who I am and keep cultivating that childhood and making sure I stay true to like who I am and what I want.
And the boys are fully ready for this ride too, and like they're totally cool with like kind of just being like, yeah, we're like his backup dancer.
No, I promise you, that is not what it will be, and because that's not what I want it to be. I'm trying to push the boys in many ways to kind of take more space.
Yeah.
I want to share it with them, not because I want to handle like a hand on a silver platter this like false sense that like these like very broy bros can get down with a homo, but like but because that's what it is.
Yes.
So how can I like amplify what's already is a truth with it and keeping it organic? I also don't want to push them to the point where they're doing things and it's like fucking awkward, what I mean?
Yeah.
But like we're so excited for when we have a budget to do a show because like Chance can fucking play the guitar like a motherfucker. So like when he rips on it, like we're gonna have to do something where like, I don't know, he's like bungee through the air. I don't know.
Yeah.
Need some money.
Throw some strings on his back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have him fly
No, they're gonna work for their money, honey. I'm not the only one running around that stage.
Like I can't be the only showgirl here.
I'm gonna have my off days. Sometimes my knees crack and I'm tired. Okay. So Danny's gonna dance. Oh my god, that'd be funny. Mental note.
So how did the band name come about? I know that you go by Luka.
Mm-hmm. Perta was actually, we didn't have, when did we come up with the band name? I'm trying to think. We weren't called anything else before that. We were just, we had made one cute little show debut at our college. They were doing like a queer arts collective show and they asked us to come play and we were like, yeah, let's test the waters and see what we can do. Not our best work, but it was cute. And then we finally booked a like a small little show at the Theatrical here in LA. It was gonna be our Los Angeles debut. And we were like, well, we need the band name. And we kept going through like song lyrics and things. Oh god, at one point, I won't say who, but like somebody suggested Dance with the Devil because we had a song called What Happened Child, which we don't play anymore, but I was just like, no, it can't be that, but everybody was pretty gung-ho on it. But I came in and saved the day with Perta because it's actually one of my favorite plays. It's on the shelf over there. It's from a play called Birdie by Naomi Wallace, and it's just a really beautiful, poetic story about a boy from Pennsylvania who is closeted and doesn't know how to deal with it, so he puts all of this kind of like ideology and philosophy on who he is and how the world works and how he exists in it into a pigeon. And I just love this idea that this pigeon was kind of like a peace offering, like a knockoff, like, olive branch with the dove, like the fucking PA version of that.
Yeah.
Trash. And I was just like, I want to be that trash bird. I want to bring an olive branch. I want that to, and now we have a whole world to pull from. So that whole last residency was called the Trust Fund Residency. Mm-hmm. And I found that a lot of the songs that we've written inherently feel like that play, like feel like that world. So we just made it about, coming from like rags to campy queer riches and supported by these like, very, hetero men, but like supported by, and creating this really like coexistent world of like freedom. So yeah, Perta is what it is.
I like that though. It has a lot of, obviously a lot of sentimental value to you.
Yeah. I wanted, without like putting too much pressure on it, I try to make sure that everything has some form of meaning. I know that seems like duh.
Yes.
But you'd be surprised how many projects I've been a part of that.
What's the purpose here? Like
nothing.
What's going on?
No, nothing. It makes me angry. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's the point then?
Yeah.
I'd much rather, like, I don't care if you're on fucking key. I don't care if you can do riffs. I want to hear you, like, cry into a microphone. That's what I'm looking for.
Like, what are we here for?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, the human experience. But also, like, glitz and glam and, like, put on a fucking show. Because, like, someone has
Now, is that something that you always knew was going to be part of it? Like, because, I mean...
the showmanship?
Yeah, the showmanship.
It developed over time.
Yeah.
I think I pulled from a lot of, like, the theatricality. But, like I said, like, in childhood, it was dressing up. It was the ball gowns and everything. So it kind of just... it felt natural to go into it. But I certainly was trying things in the beginning. 3 years ago, I was trying to be something. I was still coming out of that kind of, like, figuring out who I am and where I land. And I just even still today, there's, I look at the show and I'll watch we have somebody videotaping it and I look back to see what's going on and I'm just like, that didn't look as good as I thought it would. This is not something I want to do again. This I loved. This I want to keep, you know. So it develops over time, and it's getting more and more specific. But once we have the time and the resources, it's going to be great.
And now, have you encountered anything where it's like, because you are openly queer and you're not hiding it.
Proud.
You're very proud, and it's in the music, it's in the show, it's in everything. It's embedded in everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Has there been any challenge is kind of like just pushing that out there in every way possible?
Yeah. Yes. None worth speaking on, because I conquered. No, I mean, like, there's, certainly, like, relationships and stuff that I've had that you can listen to music about, but, we all know toxic masculinity exists, and we all know, like, what that's like to, like, deal with in your own brain, and, you know, it's fun when you're at a show and everybody's celebrating you, but, like, in the quiet moments, sometimes you can come off as a bit of a joke, and I'm not interested in surrounding myself with people who make me feel that way anymore. That is the goal. Just make sure you're celebrated with the people that you want to be celebrated with. And who do you want to sit in a room with, you know?
That is honestly, that's an album title right there.
Who you want to sit in this room with. That's been really a good beam of guidance for me right now in the big decision making is because,
And I feel like you guys are, I mean, you're filling this space too musically, because you guys are funk and soul and like all these, a mixed ball of like all this energy that like is not really being celebrated, I would say, in the mainstream.
Right. Yeah. There's a bit of everybody in the music, which is why I think it's such like we always get different people and a combination of people. Whenever people come up, everybody when the show ends wants to be like, you sound like this, you know? Yeah. It's just like, that's like a shitty thing to do, because it's like, we're trying to sound not like anything. We want to give you something new, you know? Yeah. And luckily, I mean, we've, for the most part, if not the only part, is like, we get a whole array of things. People can't really put a finger on what we're doing, and we can't either. Like, people always ask, like, what kind of music do you make? I'm like, rock, funk, pop, and I think those are the three that I stick with. It's like rock, funk, pop. Like, that's kind of what it is, and we're just doing what comes natural. I mean, we have our bassist and our guitar player fucking love funk and really good at it, and they appreciate it and its history, and they bring all of that to the table. Colin is an incredible music theorist. He like knows all of the ins and outs of like what works here, and how to dismantle that, and even in his own mind. Justin is a great arranger, and he pulls pieces together and he goes, let's actually use this chorus here. And they love like folk music, and I've come from like, I like pop music from when I was like a teenager, but when I was younger I listened to like Mary Mary, so I think that's where some of that soul comes out. I listen to a lot of like gospel music, and so like and then also some rock, because that's my dad.
That's amazing.
Dad's preference.
No, I love that it's like you can't define it, but then I think that's like a lot of what's happening in this music climate right now, is that you can't necessarily like throw someone in a box anymore, because it's playing and it's taking from so many places.
Absolutely.
And I love that, but like you guys specifically, I feel like are tapping into this music that not a lot of people are doing, and it's only going to help you in the long run,
right?
And it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's just very natural right now, so we're having a really good time with it.
Yeah, so the plan right now, or at least what's going to be laid out in the next year or so, is more music will be coming.
For sure. That is like, as soon as we make the decisions we're making right now, which should happen in the next couple of weeks, we hit the ground running going to the studio. And we've created demos, and that's how we have like demos of a lot of our songs that won't ever be released, but they were good enough to shop us around to certain things and get us certain things. And so we're ready. And as soon as we're done with that, we'll make the plan to release it. Yeah,
more music, more shows. You need like to tour. I feel like everyone needs to see your show. So you need to be stopping everywhere.
You and me both.
Yeah, there needs to be like a full-on tour.
You know.
But no, I want to thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you. This was fun and felt really nice.
Yeah.
And kind. So thanks.
No problem. I can't wait for everyone to get to know more about you guys, and make sure you go check everything out. Perked Up. Bye!